Hi, my name is Karen McMullen. I'm a features programmer at Doc NYC. We're here today with director Loira Limbal, who made the wonderful film Through the Night. Welcome, Loira.
Thank you. Nice to see you, Karen.
Nice to see you too. And thank you for sharing your film with the Doc NYC audience.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And New York is the hometown, so it's really special for us to be part of the festival.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I know you've been making the festival circuit, so you've had the experience of showing it far and wide. Have you shown it in person?
We have not.
Wow, it's crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
Like many times.
yeah. Tribeca was supposed to be our world premiere,
Yeah.
and so everything went virtual right after that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, it looks like a lot of people are watching it, and rightly so. It's a really great film. And it taps into this fascinating culture that, nobody has heard about up until your film, or very few people know about. So how did you come to tell this story?
I heard about Nunu and Patrick's daycare through an article actually that I read that was shared on an online mothers group that I'm a part of. And the article was sort of posing the question of, given the fact that so many people in the US now have to work multiple jobs and work irregular schedules to make ends meet, the question was, well, then who takes care of their children? And so it was, sort of a look at this one 24-hour daycare center. And when I read the article, it immediately brought me back to my own childhood because I am the oldest child of four, raised by a working single mother who worked the night shift. She worked as a home health aide in New York City. So a very sort of low wage job, and working the night shift, and so I immediately just thought of her, and then I thought of all the other women I know in my community and my family, my current circle of friends. I myself am a single working mother, and I was just sort of like, this is the story of so many Black and brown women, but it's a story that you don't see anywhere, and so that's what sort of initially motivated me to wanting to make a film about this community.
Hmm. Yeah, I was a single mom also for, my daughter was young. And at one point I had a job working, editing at Jesse Raphael at the night shift. And it was
Mm,
a scramble for childcare.
mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
and we filled in with friends and family. But do you know of other 24-hour daycare centers that exist?
Yes, yes. There are many. There are many that are 24 hours. Others are not a full 24 hours, but they do provide what is called non-standard hours. So they might close at 10 p.m.,
Mhm.
or they might go till 12 a.m. So there's all kinds of daycare centers because the reality is that work in the United States today, and particularly low wage work, does typically require really sort of the kind of office hours schedule of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's a shrinking sector, right, of work in our economy, and so yeah, and a lot of people don't necessarily live near family or have friends, right? You can't necessarily always piece it together, and so there is this need. The interesting thing I think about, though, is that um, for middle class and upper middle class families who might also need, long hours if they have sort of demanding careers, they're in a position where they can hire a nanny, and have the nanny in the home, which is something that is not looked upon in the same way. So one of the things in making this film that we learned and encountered was just like the kind of stigma that working class mothers of color have to deal with in trying to walk this kind of tightrope that you have to walk between providing financially and providing physically and emotionally for your children, and that sometimes, and oftentimes you have to choose one or the other. You kind of can't do it all, again, given the way that the economy is structured.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so as much as the film is, a celebration of Nunu and Patrick and these people that give so much love and care to these women and the children who are in need, it's also, like calling out the society for letting these people kind of fall through the cracks and left to fend for themselves. Did you ever consider adding that policy piece, or are there people out there working to provide some sort of like a universal pre-K, but like 24-hour universal pre-K, or some kind of a childcare system for people? Does that exist?
Hmm.
Or is there an action behind that?
Yeah. So in terms of the film, and the approach of the film, I didn't ever want to include kind of policy or statistics or information, because I made the film primarily thinking about the very people that are in it, and people that are part of communities like it. So as I said at the top, I was thinking about my mother and the fact that my mother is in her late 60s and had never seen a film that portrayed probably the most important part of her lived experience, right? Which was being a mother who had to work and had to juggle all these things. That for so many of women of color, we don't see our everyday experiences depicted anywhere. And so that was sort of first and foremost for me. And because of that, I led with what I wanted to offer to this community, right? Which was a tender and patient and curious gaze, that could kind of behold and linger and reflect, not explain. So I never sort of thought about that. But I do think that the film, without the information, actually lays everything very bare, and does explain quite a bit. And I think it does indict and incriminate our system, in a pretty sort of direct and unapologetic way. If you sort of think about the way that the economy is structured in the United States, and under the US brand of capitalism, we have a society that has made sleep a luxury that only a few people have the benefit, right? Sleep, it is the most essential of human needs. And when you think about like, I think of that as a legacy of slavery, right? When you think about like racial capitalism in the US, and the fact that the country was built on stolen labor. And in this moment, particularly like in a pandemic moment, the people who are keeping society running are precisely these women, as we have learned. Um, and we call them essential workers, but we don't treat them as if they're essential. We're treating them as sacrificial, right? And so, you work people to the bone, you deny them the right to sleep, which then it's also like you're denying people the right to dream.
Mm,
If you can't ever go to sleep, when do you dream?
mm,
And this is a long history in this country, right? That goes right to our very foundations
mm,
as a nation state. And sort of, so for me, those are the kinds of connections that I think the film does make without telling you. It's actually, it just reveals it. You watch it unfold, and I think you're left feeling like this makes no sense,
mm,
because here are these people who are supposedly doing everything right, quote unquote, right? Which, I'm not a proponent of respectability, politics, or any of that kind of stuff. But, these are people that are doing everything that you're supposed to do. Shanona is a pediatric ER nurse. That is a respected career that is essential, right? Marisol is working multiple jobs because none of her employers want to give her full-time hours so that they don't have to pay health insurance. And then Nunu and Patrick are the social safety net that all of these families need, that the government does not provide. So Nuno and Patrick sleep about 3 or 4 hours a day. Marisol sleeps about 3 or 4 hours a day. So does Shanona. No one can sleep. And these are literally the people that keep our society functioning, as we now know, thanks to COVID-19.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, I mean, you're speaking the truth so powerfully. And yet your film I think the reason why your film is like blowing up the festival circuit is because even as it lays bare all these really harsh facts and glaring inequalities in our system, the tone is one of love and resilience and championing these people that do this without, wagging the finger, and there's zero pity,
Mhm.
there's zero hand wringing, and that's it. This is a testament to your talent as a filmmaker, Lloyd. I have to
Oh,
say, it's
thank
really,
you.
it
Thank you,
makes,
Karen.
yeah, it makes it really a powerful film. Um, let's see. Well, you also, as you pointed out, you are a single parent too. Can you talk about your challenges as being such, trying to make a film?
Yes, oh, so many. The first one I would say was, I do work. I work full time at Firelight Media, and I've been there for about 11 and a half years. It's a job that I love, but that is also very demanding.
Mhm.
And I am a single mom of a 7 year old and a 9 year old. And so the first challenge I would say was that I immediately read the article. I wanted to make a film, and then I was kind of like trying to convince myself that I shouldn't make it. I said, Loida, you're working, you have the kids, you have no business trying to be in production right now. Like, you're wilding, leave it alone, don't even go there, right? Like, you're playing yourself. Um, and I did that for a while, So it actually, between the time I read the article to actually reaching out to Nuna and Patrick, 2 years passed, because I was trying to sort of talk myself out of it. And then I'd say that once I did overcome that and reached out and established a relationship with Nunu, while I was filming, I did sort of make the film on what I call my third shift. I would work on it at nighttime, on weekends, on holidays, and just constantly, kind of borrowing time from here to put it there, and then borrowing time from over there. And then the sort of internal dialogue around, being concerned. Am I not doing things right? Am I taking too much time away from my kids? Is this going to be harmful for them? The guilt, right, that I think most working mothers know very well, having that all like kind of in overdrive at the same time while you're confronting your insecurities, about your artistic vision. This is my second film, but my first film I made 11 years ago. And so, I think I wasn't certain that I was really a filmmaker, and I was trying to prove that to myself in the process. So a lot of sort of internal dilemmas and, insecurities and fears, and, ultimately being very, very scared of not being able to see it through, and letting everyone in the film down, and the people who had been supporting me, my collaborators, the protagonists, and kind of carrying that burden, of like, am I really going to be able to finish this thing, so yeah, those were primary time, and the scarcity of time, which is not lost on me, that there's that parallel with everyone in the film as well. That time is probably like the most precious resource in all of our lives as working mothers.
Mhm. Yep, for sure. Well, I hope you're satisfied that you are a filmmaker and a talented one at that. Hope you
Thank
had
you.
yourself back a little bit about that one. Do you have any plans for an impact campaign?
Yes, yes, yes. We are working on that right now. And, we do have quite a bit of information on our website, which is just through the night film. But we are leading with the idea of care for caregivers. Again, because now we know that these people are essential, and there will be no recovery, and there's no way forward if we do not take care of the people that take care of us, and that make all other work possible. And so we are building partnerships with both local and national organizations that are doing grassroots organizing work around these issues, people that are working on policy change. There's a number of bills that are being put forth, both on the federal and state levels, around providing relief, support to essential workers. So we're doing that. And then there's a huge part of it that's just really about trying to bring the film to the communities that it's about. And so wanting to bring the film to childcare providers and caregivers and essential working women, so that again, like they can see themselves. And hopefully for me, I want to kind of chip away at the things that we internalize, the sort of stigma that society places on us that we internalize, and to sort of say, like, things are really hard for you, but it's not because of any individual shortcoming or flaws. This is actually structural, it's systemic. And when you see that other people like you are in the same position, you start to be like, oh, maybe it isn't just me, you know, which I think is really important, because it is already so hard and so harsh, you know, that if like emotionally the film could provide some affirmation and just a little bit of tenderness, for the women who do this work in our society, then, you know, for me, that would be, you know, a huge achievement.
Yeah, absolutely. And very necessary and significant gift to those who give so much, right? Well, Loida, I could talk to you for a long time, but we got to wrap this up. And I will just say that I've been following your film for, you know, while you're getting it made, and sat in on some funding um, panels where you had submitted, and everybody always wanted to see it made. And we're very happy you got the money and you did beautiful things with it. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. And
And
thank you, Karen, for the support along the trajectory. And it really means a lot, especially because, as I just said, I wasn't really sure that I had it in me.
yeah, well, we're glad you got it done. Thanks so much. And thanks for sharing your film with the Doc NYC audience. We'll take
Pleasure. Thank you
you
for
soon.
having me.
Okay, bye.